Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gen AI Talkin' 10, brought to you by SS&C Blue Prism. I'm Brad. He's Satish. And today we are going to talk about change management and the role that it plays in AI adoption. Satish, I know you're passionate about this topic, so let me hand it over to you.
Yeah.
And I'll have a few things to say as well. So get us started.
Thank you, Brad. I think change management is a very, very important topic, and Brad said I'm passionate about it because when I speak to customers, I do bring this up as an important thing to consider. It sounds very soft skills kind of type, but cultural, who cares? Let's talk about technology and what it can do for us. But without appropriate change management, your transformation with AI is bound to fail. And so what is it about change management? How can we implement this change that we're going through? Because that's a big change for a lot of organizations that are going through not just AI, but also automation, right? First of all, this change should originate from the top, right? Where there's clear direction from the senior leadership, right? Communicating a vision of the organization of tomorrow, right? So where we are saying, here's what we are planning to do with AI. Here's how it will impact the business. Here's how it aligns with our goals and why we need to do this. The why is critical, by the way, right? And so if the leadership expresses this, I think that's the first step. And you've seen this within SS&C itself, where we went through tremendous change, right? Where we have deployed north of 2,200 digital workers with AI. And so it started from the top with Bill Stone actually clearly expressing what it is that we see as the SS&C of tomorrow with AI and automation, right? So that's important. That's number one. The next is, engaging all the stakeholders, right? Whether it's employees, whether it's customers, whether it's partners, and making sure their needs, their expectations, their concerns are taken into account while we have, wanting to deploy AI across the organization. Without their buy-in, it's really bound to fail. So how do you get buy-in might be your question. The third thing is, all the education and training that we can give.
Yeah.
Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to Gen AI, right? It's critical that all the employees are educated and they're comfortable and competent, right? You have to have both. You can't have just competency, but the employee not feeling comfortable with using this technology.
Yeah.
In the back of their mind, they might otherwise have resistance, right? Using this technology for the betterment of the organization and its goals. So then, how do we manage this resistance? So you can see how this kind of keeps feeding one feeds into the other, right?
Yeah.
There will be some resistance, and you should, as an organization, you should expect that. The question is, how do you identify that? And you might do surveys, you might have one-on-ones, you might have managers bring that in this topic in their one-on-ones proactively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then try to identify what's the resistance, why is there resistance, what is causing it, and then by understanding that resistance, now you can say, well, for person A, this is a response that makes sense, but person B, because they're in a different part of the business, the solution might be something different.
Yeah.
Now beyond that, when Brad, you and I have spoken to customers, you've heard about, with change comes risk.
Mm-hmm.
How does one address the risk, such as data privacy, issues with technology, right? Because if you become overly reliant on AI, then, because you move employees from and have them doing something else. Now, what happens when that AI fails, right? How do we manage risk? How do we make sure the customer's data is protected, or even our own data is protected against being inadvertently even given out, right? monitoring, continuously monitoring and providing feedback to both employees and to the AI, as we talked about. And so these are some of the elements I think of, Brad, when I'm thinking of change management.
Yeah, this is so important. I mean, anytime you have technology change, the success of it is largely driven by how well you've managed the human component, right? The change management aspect. With Gen AI, it's even more emphasized because this is permeating not just our professional lives, but also our personal lives. And we're all using it almost every day in various ways. And it's going to permeate all of our core business systems. I mean, every company is an AI company and is going to revolve around enterprise AI, whether they think they are or not. So it is so important to get the workforce behind it, to understand it, and to get the reskilling that they need to embrace it. And there will be some that just don't want to make the trip. And that's always the case.
Yeah.
And they may need a career change. They may need to go do something totally different because they just do not want to be interacting with AI in their job, every single day. So there's always going to be that aspect. But I think for the majority of people, if they're brought along the right way and they're given the right education, but also the ability to reskill, this can be an exciting opportunity for them. And I think just the way I would summarize it is don't make the change something that's going to impact them, make them part of the change. So they are, they're on the leadership side of making it happen. Yeah. One thing that's been recommended, I've seen this in some articles and such, is sharing ownership of the company with the employees, so that they are more focused on the outcome of AI versus the technology change itself. So if I think AI is going to improve customer experience and raise our NPS and result in more sales, and it's going to help the company be more successful, if I'm an owner in the company, that's great. I want that. I benefit from that. But if I'm just a worker bee and this is going to eliminate my job or change it in a significant way where I'm not going to enjoy it anymore, that's a recipe for disaster in these kind of situations. So it's a complex thing to grapple with. And that's why there's a whole discipline around, change management. But I think there is a lot of value to it when you talk about Gen AI.
Yeah, it's just kind of knock this up, right? People talk about the AI trust AI. I'd like to remind them there is a people trust in you too.
Yeah.
That you need in your, you're talking about this whole architecture of how you deploy and all that. That's great. But don't forget the people trust layer, because if you don't build that trust with your people and bring them along, change will fail. So,
yeah, you can have the best technology in the world, but if you don't really wrap your arms around the workforce and help them through this change, the technology will ultimately fail. It just flat out will not work the way you're intending it to work. It won't give you the value you're intending to achieve. So it cannot be overemphasized enough, I think, just how important it is to focus on adoption and how is your workforce really going to put this into play.
So thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this, and we hope to see you next time on Gen AI Talk in 10.